Hi, Shannon here with Shannon Sizzlen Stampers, and I'm coming to you from my Southern Colorado stamp studio, and super excited to share some fun seashore projects. Especially exciting because part of my surgery recovery, I went to Hawaii and loved it there. So I'm all about the beachy stuff right now. So let's go ahead and start, and let's see what all is in your kit today. Some of these things will vary, like paper patterns, ribbon colors, twines, etc. You may have different colors or patterns. So look for the size. First of all, you're going to have one craft envelope. And you're going to have a piece of paper, designer series paper, or DSP as we shortcut call it, in your kit. And it could have any kind of pattern on it. These are not necessarily all beachy. They're picked for colors that would kind of coordinate back to the pieces that we're doing. So you have a piece of 6 by 6. You're going to have 4 2.5 by 2.5 squares. You're going to have 2 ovals that are punched out of some variation of designer series paper. You're going to have this elegant tag punch that is punched out of some form of designer series paper. You're going to have a little snippet of this pink and white shell paper. You're going to have some craft or tan type paper. You're going to have some scraps of that, 1 to 2, depends on how it gets cut. You're going to have a paper shell. These could be all kinds, small, big, the spiral shells, the conch shells, there's all kinds. So you're going to have one of those. I don't know what it will look like. Then you are also going to have 3 of these little shimmery shell stickers. So we have the pink conch, the yellow starfish, and the blue clam. So you're going to have 3 of those. And then you're going to have some piece of twine. Don't know what it will look like. They're all varied. You're going to have some piece of ribbon, 2 different pieces actually. One that will be a wider ribbon, and you'll see me reference the width in the project later, and one that is more narrow. And I think that is it. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first project that we're going to do is you're going to need your craft envelope. You're going to need this pink and white shell paper. Everyone does have this piece of paper, that I do know. And then you're going to pick one of these sticker shells. Oh, you know what? You guys are going to have 3 of these opals, 3 of these opal rounds. So I left mine fully on the package, but you're going to have 3 of those. So to start, I know this looks backwards, and I'm going to show you how you could do it 2 different ways. I've got an extra envelope here to show you. You can decorate this as the front of a little pocket card and then put a card in there of your own making. Okay, and so you would do this design, which is very easy that we're going to do on there. You would do it on the front. However, if you want to do it into a gift card holder, and let me just use one of my business cards just to show you it. I've tried it, and the gift cards fit in here perfectly. That's what I'm going to demonstrate it as, and it requires you to fold it up. So that's how I'm going to show you. But if you want to leave it open, you can do the same thing just down here and flip it over. So for this gift card, you're going to fold it up, not quite all the way. Use your bone folder if you have one, or give a nice crispness on there. The reason is you want to create an extra little pocket right there. And you can put that with some little adhesive of whatever kind you have, but you're going to want it to be narrow. And you can even use white glue, I think, on this. I'm going to just use a couple little tiny pieces of tear tape. So your adhesive, if you use a double, that one just came right off. If you use a double-sided tape of some sort, I like to put it on this end here that I'm going to fold up. Let me get my spatula down to get that off. Okay. So just put a tiny bit of adhesive under there. That way you've created a pocket. So now you can tuck cash in here or a gift card. You can tuck a note. I'm going to show you this other piece, a home decor piece, but if you don't like it for that, I'm going to show you some ways to take and make it into mini cards, or you might decide to decorate and use it on this as well. This project is very simple, using whatever adhesive is your choice. I'm going to use Seal on this one. You're going to take this piece of shell paper, and I'm offsetting mine. So notice mine is kind of more to the right-hand side. Now this is a sticker. This clamshell is a sticker. If you want and have dimensionals and want to pop that up, I love it. I will just tell you a quick tip. Take a little embossing buddy or a piece of fabric. You can even do it on your clothes and take off some of that sticky. And that will just help it to where when you go to pop it on, the edges won't try to go down on you and stick to your paper. If you don't have it, just put it on flat. It's no worries. And then we're going to put one of these opal rounds. They're sparkly. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not, but I'm going to put it right in there, kind of like the pearl in the oyster shell. And that is the first project. Now, this project is designed that you would put a gift card in it. You could, in here, the gift card would go back here. Where's my business card again? Let's just use this one. So the gift card would go in back here. My business card is a tidge too long. It's a little bit bigger than a gift card, but a gift card will fit. I tried 3 different ones. So you can put a gift card in here. And then if you want, you can put a little note in here as well. You could personalize it. But this is just meant to be a very simple, easy gift card with money to go. And it's flat enough that you can even insert it inside of the card if you want to give a card. So that's project 1. Very, very easy. All right. Now, this next project has several pieces to it. And there are several little intricate things that you'll have to do. But it goes together. None of them are hard. It's just a little bit. Some of them are a little bit time consuming. So I designed this project to be more of a home decor piece, and that's why you have a piece of 6x6 paper. However, like I said, an alternate would be to cut that 6x6 in half. So now you have 2 pieces that are 3x6, and you can fold them in half and create some small cards, one of which could fit right inside this. So if you want to do a card version instead of the decor and use one of them for here, you can do it and then put your gift card up in this little pocket, or just a little note, whatever you want. So this is going to be the alternate idea if you don't want a home decor piece. This is designed, it's 6x6, so you would want a probably an 8x8 frame that you can either lay it on or have it matted if you want to really jazz it and make it nice. All right, so you've got 4 squares, and what we're doing is in each square, we're going to create a little seashore type of scene. And I'm going to do the easy ones first, and we're going to do the little bit more tedious ones last. So, card 1, and I'm going to set that, I'm going to actually set my 6x6. Well, we'll just try to set it up there for now. Well, I'll leave it here because otherwise you won't be able to see me work on the white. All right, so for the very first one, I'm going to actually stamp. Now, you guys, your kit does not come with stamps, so you can handwrite something on here, or I'm going to show you the design and you could just figure it out and do a little bit of a variation on it. So this says, friends are like seashells, you collect them along the way, and I used Misty Moonlight ink for that. Now in that, I am going to put this pink shell, and I'm going to take part of my Kraft scrap paper that is in your kit, and you're going to tear that. We want to tear it to give that essence of sand. Now, I am going to move this out of the way while I show you one technique. If you have markers at home, you can do this technique to create a little bit of sand. You just need 2 pens of any kinds. I just picked 2 different ones so you could see. And you're banging on the, why is that not working for me today? I have to investigate that. Let's try it with this one. Okay, that normally works for me. Normally I can spatter that and it will spatter out. If you're having a time like me, you can just take your marker and with a thin dot, just go around and dot it. Or if you have a little stamp that has dots, you can do that as well. You know what, this ink, this didn't work because this pen is dry, completely dry. That's why you didn't see any action on that. Sorry about that. I have to get a new one. I will say these alcohol pens in Colorado, if they do not get sealed super tight, they will dry out really quickly. But I've just created a little bit of more texture on it, and I'm going to kind of make a hill. All right, so let's go back to my first card. Let's put this back here. I've torn that off a little bit. Don't worry if your sand isn't exact, because you can trim it. You can trim it to fit. Time for a new glue. There we go. I'm like, I just need a tiny bit. And then see how that sand is long? I just trim it off. And then I have this other little piece that I pulled. And I'm just going to get rid of this straight edge on that because I'm going to come back in and layer that in a moment. So I'm going to bring my shell. And for this one, I'm going to use the pink one and stick that on my shirt while I get a dimensional. Get some of that sticky off so I can have it pop out a little bit. Another thing you can do is sprinkle baby powder or some other talky powder on there, and that will do a similar effect. Okay, so I'm putting my shell there, and then I'm just going to play for a minute and see, where do I want more of this sand? I actually think maybe right in there. So I'm going to put some glue on there and slide that under. You're just creating dimension and texture. That's all you're doing. And that's square one. It's done just like that. Very easy. Okay, the next square we're going to do, well, this is using your paper shell. Whatever shell or shells that you may have had. If they're small, you may have gotten more than one. And if you have one and a part of one, like it was at an edge of DSP, use both. Just cover that edge piece up, put it to the edge of your paper, or cover it with the second full-on shell, because I know you would have at least one that's full. All right, so our second one is going to have the shell. We're going to put that big shell, and we're going to have another piece of sand again. So I'm just continuing that same technique, and you can do it from whichever side you want. Don't throw away any of those little torn pieces. Okay, so we're gonna just put some glue along the bottom edge of that and see what sticks, because I want that to angle down. And then see how it's not on there, and I'm just gonna come in and tighten that up by just cutting that off and having crisp edges. All right. Again, if you don't have dimensionals, you just put your shells on flat, no worries. They will look beautiful the same way. So this time I'm gonna put my blue shell kind of right here. And I'm going to put my starfish, I'm going to leave him flat. And he's going to be coming under there like that. And I'm going to put a tiny, tiny, I don't want that straight edge. I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of paper. I just want it to kind of cover him like that. And I think I'm going to just do another tiny little piece. There's no right or wrong to this. This is what is great. You can just keep building, building, building up to where you get it like you want your sand to look. And I'm going to even put I'm thinking I might want even a little bit of sand to come up on my big shell. You know, no shell, I don't know. I didn't see one shell that looked like it was, you know, perfectly, completely out of the sand when I was in Hawaii. All right, and then again, use that marker, spatter if you have a well-inked pen. That really does work if your pens are not dry. Unlike mine, as you noticed, like this pen, I could kind of get a little bit, and it's not going to matter. I mean, there are rocks, there's sea glass, you could use a colored marker, whatever. There's all kinds of things that I saw, beautiful, shiny shimmeries in the sand on the beach. All right. So that's square 2. Easy peasy. Nothing up here. We want to keep that white space. And I'm keeping, you see, I'm keeping all these little scraps of sand. All right. Now we're going to come to square 3. And we may end up moving these around. This is purely up to you. So you will see I've punched this out using what I call called the Elegant Tag Punch from Stampin' Up. Again, ordering information is in the comments. If you're ordering this month, make sure you use the June link. If not, just use the Shop With Me anytime. The trick to this really is on the back side. So pick whatever side that you like. And then just draw a small, slightly curved line from top edge to top edge on there. And you're going to take your scissors and just follow that line. You may want to keep this. You could use it for a crown or something else that you might be fun. But we want to have this look like this. It's going to end up being our little beach tote. Now, your widest ribbon is put in there to mimic a folded up towel. So however you want to glue or adhere your towel, you're going to want that to look like it's hanging out. The other thing you've got is whatever piece of ribbon, not twine. Twine is like the skinniest stuff in your kit. This is going to be your handle for your beach tote, okay? And you've got more ribbon than you actually need. To attach the ribbons, I personally prefer glue dots. If you don't have glue dots, you can use whatever adhesive you like and have on hand. You'll just need to adapt how it adheres. It may take longer to dry if you're using the white glue, etc. So just use it however. I put the handle on first, and I put on one side and bring it around because I want it to have that, arched effect like the handle. You want to get it in there to where your ends of your ribbon don't show, but they look like they go to the edge of the tote bag. Going to measure it. That handle is too long. Okay, so I know I need to pull one end off, lift up my glue dot, come back in, and just lay it down lower because you still want to create that handle. Okay, that one will fit on there. That's why you need some with white space. Now you're going to come in and you're going to fold this towel. You could roll it. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. Just kind of roll my towel. And the biggest thing to do is to get it to come up you want it to be poking out of one side of your beach tote, because everyone carries a beach tote, right? And I'm just using several glue dots or whatever method you want and works for you. I'm just trying to have that rolled, and then I'm going to use one more. So I've used 3 glue dots to do this ribbon towel with this method. So roll my towel up. I want it to be showing a little bit. So now I've got my little towel, and I can tilt that however I want. Now, you're going to put some good adhesive or glue dots there, and then you're going to put, if you have them, I recommend some dimensionals. And this is also why I save the edges of my dimensionals, because I can get a little bit longer strip to get the look I want, because I want to curve my bag a little bit. So we're going to curve our bag. I'm going to glue that down, curve, put the dimensionals down. Well, you cannot put dimensionals down, Shannon, if you don't peel the backings off. Silly, silly, silly. Okay. All right, so now I'm kind of curving it, putting the dimensionals, then I'm putting that bottom down kind of curved, and I've pushed that in to where this is down really good, and that gives it a little bit of a 3-dimensional look. All right, back to my sand again. So it's like our little bag is sitting in the sand. So you just play with that until you get your sand the way you want it. And then you place it on. And the reason I like to do this is because, look, now I have some sand that looks like it's back behind my bag. And then I'm going to come in with this tiny, tiny piece here. We'll just bring, it's going to come down here, so I need to bring this down because I don't have any glue on that middle piece that I put in there. And again, keep those little tinies. Bring my scissors, because at the end of the day, the design of this, you want to have those 2.5 by 2.5 squares be nice and crisp. Okay, so now we have a little bag. So that might end up going up there, it might go here, who knows? We don't know yet. You know, who knows? We can move them all around when we get done. All right, because we won't want two shells together. So the next square, the last square, is one that may be the most difficult. It's not really difficult, it's just a little tedious. So you have these two ovals and you still have, you need to make sure you reserve some craft for this. Some tan or slate color, whatever you have in there that you're using for your sand. You also need to be able to use it for this. So what I recommend doing is gluing oh my gosh, I've got to let that dry now. I totally did it wrong. Okay. There is a pattern on the template, on the tutorial. So you will need that because in essence, you're going to, from these two ovals, you're going to cut out a pair of flip-flops. And if you do not care about perfection, you do not have to use the template. You can just use the oval and cut in on it, because here's the deal. Gosh, that was, here we go. You're not going to see the entire flip-flop because they're going to be like they're poked down, stuck down in the sand, you know, kind of like people do surfboards. That's kind of going to be the look we're going for. And on that template, just make sure you reverse them. And I just didn't do mine right. Okay, well, we have to use that one that way. And I need to do this one the opposite way that I just did. Because remember, when you trace these, you got to have a left and a right. Now, I don't know, if you buy flip-flops, some of the places I buy flip-flops, there's not much difference between the two. So you can probably get away with it. But your two little ovals are going to turn into a pair of flip-flops. So we're going to watch that happen right before our eyes. Like I say, if you can draw your own template, you can do it freehand. You might even decide, because when you see how they go into the sand, you may just decide to use them as the oval. If you use them kind of like the oval, they kind of remind me of the Asian, the chunkier flip-flops, like you'll see the wedgie flip-flops. I'm trying to think of, I saw them in Thailand like that at one place that we were at. So I'm just going to lay these right there for now. And I'm going to trim this one up a little better, because in my head I inked the front of my designer paper because I couldn't make my brain think to turn it over and flip my template over. So let me get that off. Okay. So now we've got those laying there. All right. The next step is to actually glue them on to some of this craft. And you need to make sure you leave an edge, because this becomes the little sole of your flip-flop. So we're gluing those on, and you still have, you'll have plenty for sand, etc. And then you're just going to go around those, I don't know, leave whatever you want for a sole, not too much, because unless maybe if you want the wedge flip-flops, you might want to leave more. And again, it doesn't have to be perfectly even. They're going to be in the sand. So it's, you know, there's shadows and all kinds of things that go into play. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, I didn't get that perfectly 1/16 of an inch all the way around that flip-flop. That is not going to matter. Guys, just go with the flow and the aloha spirit and have some fun with it. You may want to keep that. We may need more sand. All right, so next step, either use a piercing tool like this and poke a hole down there, or I'm going to try to cheat and we're going to see how this is going to work using this 1/16 of a hole punch right in there like so. Okay, so either way, but you'll need something with a sharp point to put a hole in. And then this is where your twine comes in. So you're going to take, you can do this a couple of ways. The method I'm going to recommend, let me see if I can remember how to do it, is to fold my twine in half. Wrong way. But you go in, normally I would come from the back side in. On this, to do this, you do it down from here. Like so. No. This is what happens to me. I make something and then I totally can't bring it back in my brain, because I did it a different way and I thought poking this hole was going to be easier, which it will be if I can make the twine, there we go, work. So if you bring that, you will have this little loop up there. So you may or may not like that. If you want it really authentic, you just bring your thread through. But then you're going to take your twine. So you see how I've done that? And then I'm going to put some adhesive. And for me, I'm just going to use a seal, and I'm going to put my twine back in there. And like so. And then you just cut off any excess twine. Again, if you don't like the way that top loop goes, you can do it differently. For me, I don't mind the top loop. It's worth the ease. It's worth it for the ease, guys. It truly is. It's not going to look quite as authentic, but I also like that it looks a little bit more decorative than just the plain strap. Now you could also choose to use some of the opal rounds there on in the centers of your flip-flops instead of in other places, but whatever you want. So to do it this way, you fold your twine in half, bring the loop through the top, pull those two ends through, your two ends through, adjust your loop to come down tight, put some adhesive on the back, right underneath that hole. And then that way, as you go to pull it down tight and get that loop where you want it, you can just bring your twine right on over to the back side. And then, as is customary, trim your ends. If you have extra twine, you may want to hold it. You may want to use it for somewhere. Now, we're going to be putting these in a little thing of sand. So once again, we've got some sand to work with. And I am wanting to put one down in there, and then I'm going to have this one kind of be layered. So this one, we're going to go ahead and put some adhesive on the back. I'm going to go ahead and stick that one in. Then next, I'm going to put my layer one of sand on. Trim. I like to trim my sand as I go most of the time because it helps me see where do I actually need a layer of sand for texture. This flip-flop, because I have dimensionals, I am going to pop it up, but you don't have to. I just want to give a little bit more dimension to my thing. And you're going to need to put a dimensional on, I don't know why I didn't do that, on both the toe and the heel. Actually, I think realistically it might only be more at the toe, because then it's going to look like it's out and that heel is going to get firmly planted in the sand, like so. And now I'm going to come back over top with some more sand. Just keep tearing that sand to get it how I want it. I think I'm going to need another longish piece. Okay. And we're just going to glue. As you tear the paper, the other thing that's nice about the sand is that doing it this way, the paper fibers start breaking up and you really get some fun crinkly up textures that really do start looking like, you know, a pile of sand. That's where I say don't get rid of any of these little pieces, because you might want to fill in with them. I think I'm going to take one more piece right along that bottom edge, kind of. This one has a lot of sand built up on it, which is great. And you can always go back and add more sand. Now, I want to go back in, because I started dotting some of my sands, I want to make sure I carry that essence kind of through the whole project. Doesn't have to be too much, just very minimal. All right. So now we have created our 4 picture pieces that go in to create this small sampler, this seaside sampler. And now you just get to play. So now it's all about what item do you want where. Okay, so I think I'm going to go like that. Now, your next choice or your next thing is just to glue them in place. And I was going to say, I know I have a start of a pack of these. I'm going to do mine with dimensionals. These would be wonderful. If you're doing it in a regular flat frame, don't do dimensionals on these squares because they'll be too thick. But otherwise, they're really fun on the square. I'm actually going to put these back on for a minute so I can show you the difference and show you the alternate. So see how it is when it's flat, and then see how it is when it's popped up. Okay, now remember how I talked about those mini cards that you could do? It would be 1 card. Granted, you're only going to have enough to do 2 cards that way, but it'll give you something else that you can put 2 more on. So you can do a little set of cards that way as well. So it's totally up to you, whichever way you decide to put the items together. But see, just like this, if I put this on the mini card, just pretend it's on there, it can slide right inside here as well. And you could even have that part stick up that says friends, and then the gift card could be right there. Otherwise, you can just leave it like that and write their name up there or whatever, but it becomes a fun little piece. All right, so hopefully you like that, those projects. And then the last piece, sorry, we used 1 of your Opal rounds on the gift card project. You have a total of 3. So now it's really up to you. Where else might you want them? Do you want a little bit of a, I think I'm going to put 1 maybe down here by my bag. And I think I'm going to put the other one up by my flip-flops, kind of like little beach glass pieces. And that one I even kind of slid under an edge of sand. That's just to give a little bit of sparkle. You can do it however you want. You don't even have to use them on there. You could use them all down here. 3 of them would be wonderful with just these shells, or you could do 2 more on this and use them all on your gift card holder. All right, that is this month's project, and I hope that you love it. From my beach to yours, you guys are like friends to me, and you are like seashells. I love collecting friends and seashells along the way. Bye-bye.